Welcome everybody to the 2021 Toyota RAV4 Trail, or otherwise known as the Adventure if you're watching in America. This isn't the top trim of the RAV4, but it might just be the most desirable. Now, I've already tested out a hybrid version of the RAV4, and you can check out that video if you click the link up above. And if I was going out to buy a RAV4, I would probably go with the hybrid specification. But being in this trail version of the RAV4 offers something that I've never felt in a RAV4 before, and really ever felt in most mass-produced compact crossovers. This particular vehicle has a joyous amount of charm to it. Now, I am going to talk about at length what I mean by that, but otherwise I am going to tell you what this RAV4 is like to drive on the road, how the back seats stand up for a tall individual such as myself, and all of the other things I think you should know if you plan to go out and buy this vehicle and live with it every single day. So please wait till the end of the video where I'll place this vehicle in my ranking system, so I'll show you where it competes against other compact crossovers. Now, the charm of this Trail Edition comes from its very flavorful color palette. On the exterior we have the lunar rock and the contrasting white roof, and then inside you'll see that we've got white leatherettes, brown leather here on the seat, and then all of these orange details where some of it's grippy, like right in front of the passenger on top of the glove box. Here I've got a little corner right beside where you could throw your wallet, something like that. But then also behind the door grips where you would open and close the door. And then the volume knob, the tuning knob, and the temperature controls down here have this nice grippy surface to them. That alone adds a little bit of flair to what is already, I think, a nicely designed cabin space. Now, as a Star Wars nerd, there is a detail within this cabin that I can never get into a RAV4 and not say. So where you see the orange detailing down on the speaker grills and also imprinted onto the leather on the seats, looks very much like the Imperial insignia. So there's something immediately going for the RAV4 there in terms of its charm. But with the color combinations, to me, it looks very attractive. Maybe you're watching and you can't stand the way the orange interacts with all of the other colors, because there is a lot going on in this cabin space. But because it gives you something to look at, something to touch and admire, I feel like this Toyota in particular is offering you something that none of the other RAV4s do. And that's kind of make it feel a little bit special in here. The exterior and interior color combinations are exclusive to the Trail, but it will give you a couple of other different things. First of all, you do have a slightly different face, whereas all of the other RAV4s kind of have a downward frown and a gaping mouth. This one has a little bit more of a smile to it. Distinctive 19-inch rims. And Toyota claims that the towing capacity of the RAV4 Trail is increased to 3,500 pounds. So if you're planning to buy a RAV4 and take it out into the wilderness, I very much doubt that a regular all-wheel drive RAV4 can't get that job done. But it is nice knowing if you plan on putting heavy things on the roof, or if you really are utilizing every square inch of space in here to take stuff on a camping trip, then the Trail could make your life a little bit easier in that respect. If you wanted your RAV4 to have even more off-road credential, you would option up the TRD off-road package, which you'll have to add on to the Trail trim. This will give you distinctive TRD alloy wheels and an all-terrain tire, as well as what Toyota claims is an off-road tuned suspension. Moving on to the back seats very quickly, you can see that all of that color combination and all the materials go back there as well. I'm 6'4", I can just about sit behind myself. Headroom is pretty good. Knee room and foot room's a little bit tight. Now, I will say that in the front seats, I have found the headroom to be a bit tight, and I lean my seat backwards a little more than what I typically would in any other car. And I think the whole cause of this is the sunroof. Last time I tested out an LE hybrid, so the base model didn't have any kind of glass up here, I didn't have an issue with headroom. So this is taking away a little bit of space, but at 6'4", it's not impeding me in any way. I don't have to duck down to look out or lean over to the side to get comfortable, that kind of thing. As we're still talking about ergonomics, quickly going to the boot space, you will see that there is a fantastic amount of space back there. Lifting up the false floor, you have space to store away your inflatable spare tire and hide away the security cover. And I should note that the seats don't fold down totally flat. There is a little bit of an incline, but with the low loading floor and the very square shape of the opening and the interior space of the car in general, I feel like you're going to have easily enough space in this car to load up very large items or just fill it to the brim with very little issues. Like the other RAV4s of this generation, we have the Eco, Normal, Sport driving modes, but then we can also switch to Mud and Sand, a Snow mode, and a Rock Crawling mode. The RAV4 Trail also has a Hill Descent button. Like I mentioned earlier, if I was going out to buy this kind of vehicle, I would want a hybrid, because as a car enthusiast, I can't honestly claim that behind the wheel I would love to drive this thing, that it would be fun to drive, but adding in that hybrid component does make driving more engaging, at least for me, because you're more conscious of trying to use as much battery power as possible, trying to put as much electricity back into the battery pack, all of that kind of thing. I go in length of talking about that subject in my previous RAV4 video, but with this, I will claim that with this car that I'm driving right now, the steering is very tight and responsive, has a fantastic weighting to it. The brake pedal is exactly how I'd like it to be in a car, very progressive, very firm. And with this 2.5 litre naturally aspirated engine, it produces 203 horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque that very easily get the job done when you need to quickly accelerate up to highway speed or overtake someone if need be. When you need that 2.5 litre four-cylinder engine to get the work done, it does sound quite gravelly, nothing really rewarding and really keeping your foot in the pedal, but when you don't need it, when it is just in the background coasting or keeping a constant speed with your cruise control, it's a very refined and very quiet engine. The RAV4 has always been a very economical car, a very efficient car, and it's going to treat you well over a long period of time. But this is the first RAV4 that I've been in that has felt desirable. It feels like something that you actually really want to spend your money on, and you're getting something more than an appliance, you're getting something more than a tool. It feels like it has a little bit of a character. And I know this is all just the visual aspects of things with the funky colors and the nice materials, but for something that is so mass-produced, something that they sell in the hundreds of thousands, it's nice to know that there is a way to add a little bit of personality back into a car that sells by those huge figures. Saying all that, the RAV4 is undoubtedly a segment leader. I think it will really treat you well. I think you'll come to love it over time. And yes, it probably isn't going to thrill you from behind the wheel, but it's going to offer you everything that you need and you should look for in a car in this segment. So that's been everything from me. Thank you so much for taking the time to watching this video. Really appreciate you spending all of this time watching. If you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, sharing the video, subscribing, all of that good stuff really helps me out a lot. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you on the channel again soon.